Hello, my lovelies. I hope that you guys are doing great. And welcome to your pick a card for this week's reading. We're going to look at love and money, or you can look at money as in like work, service, where you basically are devoting the majority of your physical energy, focus, and effort towards like some sort of physical, tangible goal. So for both areas of life, we're going to just kind of look at what the overall situation or energy is, how you are experiencing it, and what you're aligning with next. And then I'm also going to get you some overall general advice for just life. So yes, we have 3 different piles for you here to choose from. And it's totally okay if you feel called to more than one, or if you feel called to watch this reading again at a later date and you feel called to a different one. There could be messages for you there because all of my readings are timeless, just as a reminder. But we do have 3 groups, 1, 2, and 3. So each has a card and a crystal that you can choose from here. So for group number 1, it is the teacup card. And this is, oh, what is this again? Hi, Loons. I think that this is a kind of, I want to say that this is a form of onyx. Right, it's called Apache tears, A-P-A-C-H-E tears is the specific formulation or form of this crystal. And we'll talk a little bit more about the crystals maybe when we actually get into the groups, but that is the first group there for you. Group number 2 is the elixir card. Bring it up so you can see the cute little ghost coming out of here. And I chose this crystal because it kind of looks like a little ghost. It doesn't, but it's okay, you guys. We're doing the best we can. This is amber, Savorit amber, I believe, with the elixir card for group 2. And group number 3 is the braid with the black kyanite. Okay. So whatever you feel especially called to, take your time to feel into the vibes, and let's get you guys some messages surrounding what's going on in terms of love and your physical goals or your work. So as always, there's going to be timestamps in the pinned comment, as well as the info box down below. When you are ready, just check out the timestamp for the group that you are choosing, and I will meet you there. Hey, group number 1. I hope you guys are doing well. Okay, so you're in group 1 if you chose this stone. And what was your card again? I put it away. The teacup, right? Okay, the teacup. So that's actually part of your overall advice. So we'll get to that at the end and see what exactly, like how that ties in. I'm going to hold on to your stone to just really help channel and stream the energy clearly. So on this side of things, we're going to look at love first. And then here we're going to look at money, or, you know, basically just like some sort of physical investment, whether that is work, a project, whatever kind of wants to come up and be highlighted that is important in that area of your life at this time, okay? So I've got some oracle cards, and we're just gonna mix and flow as we do. So let's get into this. Let's look at love first. So the current energy, situation, or theme in love is, okay, it's the 7 of Swords, uncertainty. And your experience is the Hanged Man. Okay. We're going to turn all these cards around before I get into it. So this is what you're aligning with next. The Four of Wands, fulfillment in reverse. And we also have the archetype card of the priest, facilitates spiritual commitments and serves as a channel of spiritual energy. With this card from The Craft, this scene from The Craft, where the bus driver says, "Watch out for the weirdos, girls." And she says, "We are the weirdos, mister." Okay, these cards together are giving such a vibe. I don't know why I'm getting really strong scorpionic energy from this, but also very heavy as Pisces as well. Just like witchy sort of energy. Not just because of this, but these two cards together are really giving deeply intuitive or tuned in. So you guys could definitely be very intuitive, telepathic, gifted channels, something like that. Okay, so let's take a look at what's going on here in regards to love for you guys. What exactly is this that's happening here? Okay, so the Seven of Swords, uncertainty. The Seven of Swords talks about most often like illusions, delusions, veils of... It can be misunderstanding, or it can be like we are not seeing something clearly because we have actively been misled by someone who had a strategy and a reason for doing that to us, right? So the energy that you are in as you experience this is the Hanged Man, which is Neptune. So yeah, strong Piscean energy there. So it could be that just right now you are kind of like, there's something that's unresolved or unreconciled and you don't have the answers. And it's like something or someone is not giving you the answers surrounding something right now. And so this could be a couple things. It's like either you don't have the answers surrounding something and you're not sure if you can really trust someone. Could be someone that you're not talking to or someone that's just being unclear with you. You are taking a second to just lean back and kind of rest on that and maybe rest on your own higher understanding and just like connection to something higher to gain perspective, a higher perspective on the situation, kind of zooming out. I'm not feeling like you are coming through as being like intimidated or like afraid or paranoid about whatever is uncertain, though. It's like you're not scared of it. You're not scared of the truth, I want to say. So even if you know that something's uncertain, or maybe if you suspect that someone is being unclear or maybe just straight out not truthful with you, there's something about you not being afraid of seeing the truth, though. You're actively seeking it out. And you could be doing that through spiritual means as well. Maybe ritual. Maybe you're doing a ritual to help you see the truth or gain perspective on this, like a lunar ritual, or you're meditating, or maybe, looking into things intuitively with tarot or things like that to gain a deeper understanding. Okay, I want to see, tell me more about the Seven of Swords, this uncertainty. The other thing this could be, though, is that somebody is actively confusing, misleading, or leaving something out, and you are kind of putting them on ice, or just taking a moment to feel into the situation, I guess, is what that would be. There could also be something in regards to your romantic life that if all of this energy is just you, it could be you taking a second to gain higher perspective, maybe by looking at things that you've experienced already, like past patterns and things like that. It's almost like a check-in point with yourself as you integrate some sort of higher understanding. Maybe you closed out a lesson that was very relational. But it would be like now you're kind of integrating that higher understanding or wisdom that you've gained, and then maybe forming a new strategy or approach in terms of love because of what you have learned or how you've grown or matured in some way. Yeah, but I want to know more about that Seven of Swords. So tell me more. Why is this the energy or situation? It does seem, though, like there's some confusion in the heart space, and you are actively seeking clarity there. You don't know if there's an opportunity with something or not. You are not sure if there's an opportunity with something. So someone, if you're actively engaging with someone, it's like they are not being clear about their intentions, or that just hasn't been sorted out or worked out between the two of you yet for some reason. Or maybe they have somewhat told you where they stand, what they want, and what their intentions and goals for the future are, but there's still something you feel like you don't know or understand, or something that's not solid enough maybe to know if this is a viable opportunity or if it's going to get off the ground. This could also be like you have already decided and now you are validating something within yourself or integrating a higher knowing about an opportunity that is available, while someone else is in a state of figuring that out, seeing through themselves, their own illusions, to kind of figure out like what something is and what they want to do with it. You know what I mean? So there's lots of different potential situations and ways that this could be playing out that are coming up. So I'm guessing that maybe a lot of you are not experiencing this the exact same way, because it doesn't always do that. Four of Wands in reverse, fulfillment. I want to know what that is, though. That's what you're aligning with next. Okay. Why the Four of Wands in reverse? I'm not really getting necessarily like rejection or full-on disappointment. I'm just getting something is not being fulfilled or satisfied yet. So it could be that that is like, for some of you, maybe there is a straight up disappointment or something that is rejected. But for others of you, I just feel like something is not something's not reconciling or resolving yet. And so it's like there isn't fulfillment, satisfaction, or celebration, because something just hasn't come together energetically yet. The Two of Pentacles in reverse. Well, that's a choice, an active choice being made. I think that this is you deciding that something is not fulfilling to you in its current state, and that you're not going to hang around anymore. The Tower in reverse, the Five of Swords. Yeah, I feel like you are not playing head games with yourself over something, and you're not letting something live in your head rent free. I think that you go into this hanged man perspective and you return to a state of kind of peace. You know, it's like you gain a little more perspective or clarity on this from up above and from a very connected place personally, and kind of grounded into yourself and knowing who you are and what it is that you need that will actually fulfill you. And then you're looking at this and you're like, that looks like that looks like a headache, you know, especially in this current energy. And that's not to say that it will always be there, but this is something or someone who does not know what is like right in front of them. And this is very clear. Like the Ace of Pentacles isn't really subtle. It's a very clear opportunity that lands in your lap, whether that's like a very clear inspiration for something that you feel prompted internally to like create an opportunity, or that's something that comes to you and you have the option to invest into it or engage with it. But I think you're looking at like the opportunity is good, but the current state, specifically the current headspace of whatever it is that you're dealing with or whoever here, is not in a good place. The 7 and the 5 of Swords, that's like a lot of potentially like personal illusions and uncertainty, or running from their own truths or deflecting. But then it's also like a win at all costs energy, and like I'm going to use strategy to confuse and keep someone stuck maybe, or second guessing. This is also like an energy of gaslighting, potentially, like making you question your own truth. So maybe that's why you initially put yourself in this whole energy, to find out the truth about an opportunity, because it's been muddied by something here. But the Tower in reverse, so that's Mars energy. I think that you are just like, I'm not engaging with this as long as it's in this form, because it's not fulfilling to me. It doesn't bring me joy. It doesn't feel free or safe or, you know, reciprocated, or like there's a level of synastry and equilibrium there that is symbiotic and working. So you make a physical decision to, it seems like, kind of starve this cord for now, this energetic cord. And by that, I just mean kind of out of sight, out of mind a little bit is what that energy is coming through as, in order to stay in alignment with yourself. And I'm not getting you like shutting this down altogether. You're not seeing the opportunity as bad. You're seeing it as divine and very actually viable, but not until like 2 people choose it and choose to approach it in a healthy and balanced way, with a state of certainty, honesty, authenticity, you know, all of these things. So it feels like you're looking at it and you're like, the opportunity's good, but to approach it right now would be a disaster, because like, how can I even see what I'm approaching clearly, or know what I am committing to clearly, or giving my time and energy to, when what I'm working with refuses to show up in that way. So it feels like kind of a pretty practical approach to love, honestly, that you've got going on right now. There's a peacefulness. There's, again, like an expanded consciousness or perspective, even though you don't have all the certainty, all the answers, and someone even might be going out of their way, or a situation just may be especially confusing. But you're not getting shooken up by that. You're making choices that align with your own well-being and standards and self-respect, and having some healthy boundaries here. And I see you being like very peaceful and kind of in this like energetic bubble, unfazed. Your energy is very clear here, despite being surrounded by a little bit of, you know, potential fuckery. And I think that it's important to note that like the reason that you are seeing so clearly and you're able to stay in alignment with yourself in that state of peace, on the high road, kind of like above any drama or bullshit that you could get stuck in, is because you're actively making these wise choices in the physical for yourself, to hold those boundaries, to be very intentional and conscious about what it is that you prioritize and invest in, what you pay attention to, what you engage with, what you choose to put yourself in the resonance of. So keep making those like wise, practical decisions, because it's those little choices that are keeping you in this sustained calibration with yourself. And it feels very nice. It feels like a state of kind of natural flow. And although there's this dreaminess about it with that Neptunian energy, it's like a Piscean energy, right? You can swim through those waters, and there's a dreaminess, but you know how to navigate it, and you can see or discern through the ego, and on more of a spiritual level, which is allowing you to kind of stay clear, grounded, and in a state of temperance and harmony with yourself. So I really like that. Okay, let's look at this other side of things here. Let's look at what's going on surrounding your work, your money, other investments. So the situation or the energy here is the Prince or Knight of Cups in reverse. Okay. The Two of Pentacles change is your experience of what's going on here. Yeah. And then what you're aligning with next is the Emperor. And damn. Okay. I ain't mad at it. I'm not mad at it at all. Let me see here. You know what it is too? I think part of the reason why you're making such wise choices in this realm is because the energy is very much connected, obviously, right? Everything's energy. Energy affects energy. We direct it and allocate it. But I see you very much like doing that. Clear and intentional, staying present and prioritizing where you put your energy. And it is leveling you up in a personal way. But I see you making those sacrifices. And it's interesting because the Hanged Man and Neptune is about sacrifice. There's an element of that. But I see you making sacrifices for your own highest and best good and to stay in alignment with and honor yourself in a really beautiful way. And I think that the energy that you are deciding not to give over here, you're redirecting it and allocating it here because there's some sort of big shift that's going on in this realm of your life. And with the energy being the Knight of Cups in reverse, I almost wonder if you've got some choices around what you are creating and building or what your path forwards in terms of career and that sort of thing is. It kind of feels like the honeymoon phase of something is over, or you've lost your heart for something, or you are looking for, it's like you're looking to reconnect with inspiration and passion maybe surrounding something that you've been committed to. But there feels like there's a bit of a disconnect from the heart space. And I think that you're trying to gain some clarity on what with the Emperor here is what you're aligning with. Feels like you're redefining your morals, your values, what you want your kingdom to look like. And then seeing if what you are building and giving to is in alignment with that, if it is helping you feel in dominion of your life and yourself. So there's some hard change, or there's some hard choices I feel like that you're making, and it's very physical. It's interesting you have the Two of Pentacles here. It's like you make this choice, but then you have a choice still here that you haven't made yet, that you're actively in the process of making or considering. Okay. Okay, got her over here. Let me see. Can we still see? Yeah, you can still see that. Okay. 3 cards came out. 3 of these archetype cards came out on this side of things here. 2 in reverse, 1 in the upright. So we've got some shadowy elements over here at play. That is okay. 'Tis the season. So the Judge and the Servant in reverse. So the shadow attributes coming through a little bit here. Offering only destructive criticism and misusing business, legal, or criminal authority. And then the shadow of the Servant is using lack of money as an excuse not to move forwards with life. Then we have the Detective, great powers of observation and intuition, the desire to seek out the truth. Yeah, see, I feel like there is this genuine desire to see the truth. And you're seeking that because you want to be accountable for your life. You want to be in alignment. You're looking at these difficult things where you've been out of alignment, where you've been disconnected from self, maybe what has been draining you or taking you out of calibration with yourself. There's this card also, you met me at a very strange time in my life, this Fight Club card here. So I think that you're feeling like things have been a little bit weird in regards to like your life path. Maybe there's a lot recalibrating, or again, there is a lot shifting. And I think you have this awareness that you're shifting into this, and that's why things are messy and up in the air. You're shifting into the Emperor, but it almost feels like you're in between like realities where you're redefining certain things here. And it's felt a little weird, maybe a little bit Twilight Zone-y for you. Yeah. So I do feel like you feel as though you need your attention to be over here on this part of your life, because there is a lot shifting, there's a lot changing, and you're aware that the implications of that are significant. So there's something that you're observing over here and trying to intuit or feel into, and you're actively freeing up energy and headspace to do so. Let's see a little bit more about that though. Let's see. I'm going to tune into these shadow elements after we dive into this a little bit more. I want to know what this Two of Pentacles is, because I see you like the overall energy or situation is this kind of disconnect, just feeling like now something is not being done out of genuine passion, conviction, or inspiration. Now it feels more like obligation, or now it's like I have to drag myself to show up to work where I used to be so excited about pouring my whole spirit into it. You know, it's like, where is that disconnect from the heart? What could have caused that? And what am I going to do about it? Am I going to choose to disconnect from this, decide that this is not viable anymore, that something has changed and that I need to change my trajectory with it? Or am I going to decide that maybe that energy was just getting sucked out or leaked elsewhere, and there just maybe needs to be a redefining of goals and maybe like your mission or your vision? But there's something about like tangible, like your habits, your daily routines, and the way you prioritize your time and energy that you're taking into consideration here. So yeah, I feel like this choice, to make a change in what you want that change to be, it is directly related to this and what you want to do about that. If you're happy doing what you've been doing, if you feel like it can fulfill you, you're asking right now whether or not you're fulfilled in a lot of different areas of your life. I feel like kind of taking stock. Tell me about the Two of Pentacles. The Magician. Whoa. Magician in reverse, Queen of Cups in reverse. I'm not going to keep all these because they didn't flip over. Queen of Cups in reverse, the Magician in reverse. I think that you're putting two and two together here. It's like you feel, and it's so interesting because something that I heard like a while back that just makes so much sense and kind of really changed the way that I perceive things, was that I was listening to a podcast, I think, and they were saying that when you have a creative block, it is always tied to an emotional block. And I thought that was so fucking interesting. And the more that I leaned into it, or kind of like chewed on that or processed that, and then also applied it to my own life, the more I found it to be absolutely true. Because I mean, creativity is largely based on, you know, being in tune with your emotions and being able to channel them into physical form, right? And if there's something that is draining your emotional energy or making you ambivalent or cut off from your heart space, Queen of Cups in reverse, Knight of Cups in reverse, right? Or just very confused or in your head to the point that you're not feeling safe being vulnerable or being connected to your emotions. You're just caught on this hamster wheel in your own mind or in the manipulations of something, right? The Magician in reverse, that is like Mercury energy, but in the shadow. So you're telling me right here that it's like you're seeing what needs to change. I think you're already making that decision. It's almost just like, what do I want to put in the place of what I'm no longer going to be giving to emotionally or manifesting? And I think that is whatever's happening over here. Because you're seeing how what you've been creating and pouring into and giving in terms of service and, you know, work and that sort of thing, or creative projects, collaborations, whatever's happening on this side for you, there has been an energetic leak or a creative block, or something that's been getting in the way. And it has to do with this Queen of Cups in reverse, which is just coming through as like emotional exhaustion from dealing with some nonsense a little bit that's just been consistently confusing and draining. Maybe you've been overextending yourself to try to ease somebody else's anxiety or like explain yourself to someone or prove something, you know what I mean? Or engage with something that has just been like circular. You know, it's like it's not going anywhere. It's just draining your energy. And I think you're kind of saying here that I have a choice now. What do I want to do with the energy that I'm taking back from this situation that was very disempowering and draining? It was sucking up all of my creative energy, the Magician in reverse. There was a creative block that was directly related to what was happening or what has been happening emotionally here for you, I think. Yeah, so this is the allocating of creative energy and just practical energy, time, effort, priorities. But you're still somewhat in a place, I feel like, of resting and reconnecting to your emotions. Okay. I want to know more about these. Tell me about the Judge in reverse. This destructive criticism and misuse of authority. You could feel like you've been very hard on yourself, and maybe it's because you haven't been connected again to like that, your inner child, like this soft, gentle part of yourself or your feminine energy. You may have been very in your masculine, frustrated in your ego or in your head, or again, just kind of feeling numb or worn out. But I don't feel like you've been connected to this playful, creative, open, and inspired energy. I think that as you became drained, and the Queen of Cups in reverse is like someone who's hard on themselves. It's like they're too tired to offer empathy, usually because they've overextended themselves or they've been taken advantage of because they didn't have strong enough boundaries. So they were manipulated, right? But I feel like you've gotten into quite a self-destructive or critical kind of headspace, like very judgmental internally. And this is coming through as a misuse of personal authority, like kind of against yourself a little bit. With the Magician in reverse as well, this could be like talking to yourself poorly, because Mercury is all about communication, the way that we think and speak and express ourselves to ourselves and others, internally and externally. So I feel like you've been drained here and you haven't been really offering yourself, especially surrounding like your ability to move forwards and be successful. You may have been on the fence, talking to yourself, kind of like cutting yourself down is what I'm getting. And then maybe there's a part of you that's also been making I don't want to say like excuses, but this card says like not having money or having a lack of money, and then kind of essentially stagnating or not moving forwards with life, like kind of using that, letting that get you down and then not trying as hard to take strides forwards, essentially. But this is almost coming through as like depression, or like, even if it's just experiential, or yeah, like not long-term depression, but just like based on the current circumstances, circumstantial depression. It almost feels like, though, maybe there was harsh criticism, or just like, yeah, either games, manipulation, but these are not friendly, warm energies. And that's why you're feeling the Four of Wands, fulfillment in reverse. Like, this could have been a very, again, like unempathetic, cold, manipulative, looking out for oneself, combative, or just confusing, doubtful kind of energy. And I'm also getting that because of their own confusion, they project quite a bit. So it's like, if they might project their own insecurities, doubts, and harsh judgments or criticisms onto the people around them, because they're not seeing anything clearly themselves, the situation, others, right? And you could have internalized some of that. But I'm also, with the Servant in reverse, getting that like here, there's something where you feel like you've been serving a destructive authority. You've been giving something that is somewhat destructive authority over your life. And it's like you're saying, I know that I haven't been making the greatest judgment call. And that's why I'm making these changes, not to give my energy to something that's putting me in this place anymore. You're gaining through kind of like, I feel like you're stepping back here and you're trying to have some sort of radical acceptance, so that you're essentially trying to observe what's going on without judging, without analyzing, without having to label it, but just observing it, holding space for it, and then allowing intuitive insights to come through, and kind of just getting back in tune with yourself and your truth in that way. That is what is aligning you here with this Emperor energy in the near future, which is really beautiful. Okay, I think that's all that I have for these messages. I'm going to clear these cards and take a look at the overall advice with you now. Well, yeah, to close things off here a little bit. So let's clear these cards so that we have space. Okay. Let's see here. So your overall energy, I have 3 of these oracle cards and a tarot card. The 3 of Swords, sorrow in reverse. And then we have the teacup, as we saw. Agatha Christie, which says trickery on it, and mushrooms. Mushroom tea. Okay, I don't know if some of you are into, you know, if you're friends with psychedelics, if you have some psychedelic friends, only this could be validation for you if you've been thinking that a trip would be helpful to help you tune into higher levels of consciousness and just kind of like integrate through a confusing time. This could be validation, because that's pretty funny. Or just to help you like heal or wrap up loose ends or something around something that you're still feeling a little bit fucked in the head over, honestly. But essentially your advice or your guidance is coming through as, don't cry, I mean, you can cry if you want, but it's basically saying don't allow something, and I don't think that you are. I think this is just validating and saying you're already doing it. But with the 3 of Swords, it's about how you think about pain, and how sometimes we can extend sorrow by holding on to it in our minds or not shifting our perspective on it, like not reconciling the pain of something, not creating closure for ourselves or shifting to some sort of truth about a situation that allows us to at least forgive ourselves and move forwards without carrying the weight of it forwards with us, right? There's something where something has caused you, something has already been painful enough, and I feel like you've learned a lot from it. And a lot of what you've learned from this is how to, like, where your limits are is what that feels like. And so I'm getting that it's time to, like, that's phasing out. And there's more of a peaceful kind of chill vibe that's coming in for you here, or that you're being guided to invest in. So the teacup talks about ease and rest. It can also talk about a small mind, but I'm not really getting that as much. The Agatha Christie card, the trickery card, obviously that talks about suspicion, deception, the missing piece. Agatha Christie was a detective novelist. And yeah, is about, you know, shocking twists and revelations. So there's something here that you still feel like you're missing, but basically your advice is that you don't need that. You don't need to maybe actively seek that, I should say. I think that it will come to you as you heal and gain perspective on something. Something will kind of click naturally as part of that process. But basically they're saying, do not, first of all, don't make assumptions about what you don't know, and don't, because you're causing yourself essentially either double the pain for something if it is actually true, or unnecessary pain altogether if your assumption is not accurate at all, right? So don't trick yourself into sorrow that may or may not even be warranted, essentially, or just over like suspicion of deception or suspicion of what this missing piece that's unclear to you may be. Because with the mushrooms card, that talks about what quietly grows in a peaceful but kind of like hidden place. And it has this magical kind of energy of interconnectedness and like network to it, a magic kind of network. Something about the growth with that mushrooms card is coming through very much as, yeah, divine peace, divine growth and development or breakthrough that has happened. It's interesting. I feel like there's a part of you that, I don't want to say you're worried over nothing, but I do feel like there is an element where there is suspicion here, and maybe you've experienced a lot of pain in the past, right? That I don't want to say that it's made your mind small. However, when we experience certain things, if that stays in our mind, we can have that trigger that is still kind of there. And that trigger can provide a limitation in the way that we see the truth or perceive things that are related to the trigger, right? Because we're not always seeing completely clearly when we are triggered and we're having like some sort of emotional or even like nervous system sort of response. So it's important, part of your advice here, to, rest, renew, rejuvenate, let yourself be at ease, specifically your mind, specifically the part of you that ruminates over narratives of the worst case scenario, like what that missing piece could be. And it's kind of masochistic, like you're hurting yourself by doing that. So this is one of those things where you're being asked to find some sort of reconciliation or truth that you can rest on and let the mystery be the mystery. And there's also this indication that maybe what is being hidden is actually not what it seems. There could be something that you actually will end up being at peace about once it is revealed that is not what you may expect it to be. There could have been more growth specifically and healing maybe, or maybe you were able to help someone else see, grow, or heal in a way that you are unaware of. But I do feel like that will come to light when it's meant to. So yeah, that's what I'm seeing for you. Let me just see if anything else wants to come out to clarify this advice before I let you go. No, it feels pretty complete. So yeah, you know the things that you have cut out and you know why. Wait for them to align, okay? Wait until they don't feel heavy. Wait until they feel liberated and true and certain and, you know, balanced, symbiotic, on the same page as you, whatever it is. I'm not saying that the things that you're choosing not to give to now that you'll always choose to not give to, but be confident and assured in the choices that you're making at this time, because you're very much on the right path here. And I think that you're seeing things for what they are and making the choices that are good for you. So that is wonderful, group number 1. I'm sending you so much love and I hope you're doing well. I'm going to let you go, but I will talk to you again soon. Bye. Hello, group number 2. I hope you guys are good. You're in group 2 if you chose the Savarite Garnet. I think I said in the beginning that this was amber, but it's not. It's garnet. Did I call it amber in the beginning? Regardless, this is garnet. Looks like this on the back. Okay. I'm going to hold on to this to help me just channel the energy clearly. So this side of things, we're going to look at love. We're going to start there. And then on this side is kind of like whatever it is that you are. It could be work, but other things could show up there as well. Like just finances in general, or a creative project or collaboration, or a form of like service or devotion. Something that you commit your physical time, energy, and effort and your attention to, and make that a priority that wants to come through, okay? So yeah, let's start looking over here at what's going on in love. So the 9 of Swords, sad face. All right, so that's the overall energy, situation, or theme. Your experience. The 10 of Swords. Well, at least we're making progress. I'm just kidding. I'm not laughing at you. Well, that looks a little bit gnarly. I am not going to lie. We'll look into that. We're going to look at that. Don't you worry. That is not getting by us. Okay, so things are a little intense right now, perhaps, surrounding love. I don't know if this is something, I'm kind of getting that this is something for most of you who this is your pile. I think that this is not a physical situation in your life at this time. I feel like this is something from the past that's being processed, and it's heavy, or it could even be like a whole pattern or a whole chapter relationally of your life, where like you approached dating a specific kind of way, or you felt a certain way about relationships, or maybe you dated the same kind of person or had the same sort of dynamic. Something like that. What you're aligning with next is the 2 of Pentacles in reverse. Okay. Well, you're getting clear on something here that is currently stressing you the fuck out. And honestly, it's hurting you. But there's no emotion here, which is interesting because this is the side of the heart. But what we have is a lot of very intense cognitive energy pushing you to kind of like a system overload and a breaking point surrounding your approach or your perspective on something. This is a breaking point of some sort. And if somebody is in your life, right, then this would be that, like, there's someone who maybe is at war with themselves and they are not at peace within their own mind. They are not in sovereign dominion over themselves. For some reason, they could be dealing with something stressful that is not related to you in their life. But it's not a healthy energy or space for you to be, or it's not having a healthy influence on you if that's the case. Because it could be that, and I'm not saying this would be a bad person if this is the case, like if this is the story here, but this would be someone who maybe has been recently hurt and is still very in their head about relationships. And so they could approach them from a very like paranoid, strategic, ruminating kind of place. They may test you, to see if they can trust you. They may lie to protect themselves, you know, because it's kind of an energy where you feel a little bit like you're in survival mode, like your own mind is attacking you. So that's either you or somebody else. But yeah, if this is someone that is still in your life, then you're kind of realizing that it's almost like death by 1,000 cuts. That over time, the influence of this energy has hurt you. It's deteriorated at you in some sort of way, at either your own thinking. It's made you more fatalistic or negative or anxious or doubtful. I don't know. But there's something you're realizing, and you're, I think, understanding that you want it to shift. Because you're making a decision about it, and I think that it's pretty clear to you that it's not something that's currently feeling good to you. It's kind of like getting to a point where the truth is unavoidable. You cannot quiet your mind, and you cannot escape what it is screaming at you. Let me see this. The visionary. Yeah, you have a vision of something bigger and better for yourself. It's not even like something or someone that's not this person. I don't really get any negative, like resentful or heavy feelings, which is interesting because you're in the freaking 10 of Swords. You would have every right to, but I just feel like you feel like collateral damage, and it's like you're looking at this person and it's almost this sense of actually kind of like a low-key pity or feeling bad for them. You can see how like beat down they are and how they feel hedged in. I think there's something here about you seeing how someone has kind of like lost themselves, or they're so in their head that they're either not accepting themselves and showing up authentically, or yeah, they're just going through a lot of pain here because of this. But it looks like in the near future you're aligning with making a decision that has physical implications. So when the Two of Pentacles is in reverse, it's like I'm making a decision, but I'm not only making my mind up. I'm like, so this is like if I decide I want to be healthier, I've made that choice. And the physical implications, the Two of Pentacles in reverse, would be me planning like ways to put or schedule physical activity consistently into my schedule, me doing like meal planning or looking into what my body finds best, most supportive, healthiest, right? But actually making the physical choices to implement that. So there's something you're taking action on, and I think that it's just because you're seeing the culmination of impact of this over time and how it has hurt, and it continues to, and you're kind of just this like little, you're looking at yourself like you've been through it already as well, so you can relate like that this person's just in a bad place maybe, but at the same time you know that you don't deserve this, you know, because you do have a pretty clear vision on on what it is that you deserve and like actually desire in terms of connection, I think. This is capacity to envision what is not yet conceivable to others, the willingness to proclaim a vision without regard for personal gain. I think that you could be kind of like a dreamer, like very romantic, very passionate, really big heart. That could be why you're especially, you know, impacted and hurt by like this, being in this energy for an extended period of time. It feels like very out of your element. But you might have like a vision of love. I had a vision of love. But it's not conceivable to other people. It's like they can't believe that that would be real. It's almost like you believe, you have faith in something that maybe even you haven't proven to be real yet. It could just still be a vision or a desire, but you're trusting your heart and what makes you feel good and that you're worthy of that. And I feel like you're not settling. Because here this card is, and it came out in reverse, which is interesting. I just feel like there's a level of this person, again, having a strong energetic influence on you, and almost there being this getting consumed by this energy, like kind of losing yourself in. And it's interesting, their heads are the parts that are doing that. And then it's all swords here. I feel like something about this person's perception of life, their current perspective and viewpoint or vantage point, or maybe even just the narrowness of their mind currently. And again, that could just be circumstantial because something very legitimate has them feeling triggered, right? But there's something about you recognizing, again, like the impact, and you are like, I can't do it. I do think there's a very strong pull to this person. But you're asking yourself, does this really matter in the big picture scheme of things? Yes or no? And then moving forwards accordingly. And that's where you're making this choice in the near future. So right now, I think that you are still weighing things out, honestly. Maybe like, how depleted did this really make me? Or you could just be kind of like reviewing a little bit. That's why you are in this energy. You're pulling the pins out one by one, and you're kind of like, you're looking at the damage and you're seeing, I don't know, you're going to make a call accordingly. There's also maybe things that you're not realizing. I don't know what this would be, but it's like you're seeing truths as you pull these pins out, right? Each pin is a sword. The 10 of Swords, it's almost as though there's like betrayal or abandonment or like woundedness here that was caused by this situation that you haven't yet seen or realized. Because I feel almost as though you're looking at it and you're seeing exactly the points where everything actually did hit. And maybe you're sort of pulling your energy back into yourself here and redefining how you feel about your connection to this person, their impact on you, the situation or connection between you two so far. It's helping you make an informed and discerning choice. And you're not making it from a hard or cold place where you're judging or criticizing someone or shitting on them. I'm not getting that at all. It's just like, does this currently align with the vision, or does it support the vision? Or if not, then it's taking me off of the path of the vision. And there's something that it feels like you're pretty serious about here. And you know that it matters and that it means a lot, like in the big picture. So you're kind of having to see, or it seems like you're currently weighing out. I think you must care quite a bit about whatever this is, whoever this is, because it's like you're aware of what it's taken from you. I don't know. the ways that it has impacted or wounded you, either secondhand or again, like you've just been in the crossfire. I feel like this person's so consumed within their own mind by their anxieties, fears, doubts. I just heard their mentality is frail. So I don't know. It feels like they themselves are being pushed to the limit. Well, the 9 comes before the 10, right? So they could be having their own like little breaking point soon here. But there's this energy of compassion and empathy that makes this a complicated choice for you, despite you seeing, the impact on yourself. So this is kind of defining whether this situation fits in with your vision. It might be also bringing you back to a clearer place surrounding your vision and path, because I see there being like some questions that you're asking yourself here, and it's really getting down to the truth of it about this, so that you know how to move forwards accordingly, and then you're making the choices to do so, like to physically act on that. Okay, so is there anything else that we need to know about this right now? I see you approaching this from a healthy place, and it's coming through as very grounded and balanced, and accepting. It's at peace, which is so odd, really, with the cards on the table. But it's because you have this visionary spirit, and I feel like you're very connected to creative energy. It feels like you're inspired right now. The High Priestess in reverse, the 7 of Pentacles, and the 7 of Cups in reverse. Yeah, the thing is, you knew when you were investing into this how you felt about it. Like this wasn't a secret to you. I think that's maybe why you are in such a calm energy right now, despite this. You may have been blatantly aware every time one of these pins was stuck in, you know? And it feels like you just kept accumulating them for some reason. You had your reason, right? But there's an awareness. But there's also like a knowing. I'm feeling like a not stubborn. It's a determined and committed. It's coming through kind of like a loyalty, almost even emotional loyalty, but played out in a very physical way. It's like you knew you were giving this person energy, and you knew that they were taking it. You saw it as an investment, and you gave it willingly because you knew there was a certainty of how you felt. This wasn't hidden from you, but yeah. It was also a choice that you made less in alignment with your intuition about what was healthy for you, truly, and maybe this person as well. And it was made more from an emotional and, I want to say, like dogged or stubborn sort of energy. I heard defiant, an energy, a defiant space maybe for some of you. Like, I can prove that, if I prove that I can stick this out, that I'm going to keep choosing it. I don't know. There's something maybe that you were trying to prove, that you could stabilize or bring something together, that you're strong enough to make this person see that they can trust you, that they don't have to be anxious. But I feel like this is not about you. It's like whatever this person is in this state about, it's about a lot more than just the situation with you. It's very personal and internal. It has to do with their identity. I feel like it goes pretty deep. It's about self-acceptance and their narratives around themselves and how they think about things and how their thoughts color the world around them. But it feels like they're still in the thick of it. Like they're not out of the woods. They don't have, it feels like, a lot of perspective, or really any peace right now, I don't think, in this. So it could be that you're seeing that you sticking around was not only hurting you or slowly deteriorating at your energy, but it was also kind of enabling somebody, and, essentially draining you and enabling someone, and just not really helping either of you despite your good intentions and, pure heart, right? It's just like a different approach may need to be taken, even though I see you not having any regrets about this in the past and how much you did put in it, which is kind of beautiful. I feel like you really love this person. You're telling me that you chose. There's a loyal, disciplined, conscious, intentional commitment here to make this person not just an option, but to claim this. Yeah. If you don't have anyone in your life romantically and this is all your energy, then I feel like you're being still pushed to a breaking point, and it's probably this like new moon and Plutonian heavy influence right now. It's like, yes, that's the exact energy right now. It's a time for level ups and it's a time for ascension, but in order to do that, you have to close out the previous level, right? There has to be a breaking point or something that you're closing or rising above to enter something new. So it's liberating, but it requires action, and it requires action through some kind of heavy stuff, like through the underworld, through the shadow, through our own choices, investments, fears, wounds, feelings, heavy feelings, regret, shame, guilt, all of these things. But I feel like there's something that you're reconciling then, and maybe it's still about not losing yourself. Maybe in that case, there's a situation where you're reflecting on how much you did pour into something or many things that it's like you loved people that needed your love, but could not reciprocate your love, could not give it back to you. And there's this peace and understanding that maybe was part of your path, but also, and that you chose it. Like you're saying like, this isn't some pattern that was playing out, that I was stupid. Like, no, I saw this. I chose this. Maybe you were even open about this. But you're kind of saying that right now you feel that the energy is reaching a breaking point, and you're redefining your vision, and you're realizing that it's time for you to experience more than this. Yeah. So it feels like in that case, you're asking yourself what is going to stay and what is going to go surrounding like your current approach and the way that you do things. Or think about love or approach relationships. So let's look at this side of things. Let's look at the energies around physical investments and projects and wealth and money. So the overall energy or situation is the 8 of Swords. Why so many freaking swords? 8, 9, 10. Okay. There's some sort of fear that you are, there's a fear that you're facing here. The 2 of Cups is your experience or your energy. There's a very present, and I want to say like quite thoughtful, considerate, introspective kind of energy here that's quite peaceful and clear, indicating that you've been doing some sort of healing work. I just want to say, not running away from things, even if they are scary or even require an amount of energy, like some healing, some shadow work, some things that you've maybe been looking at to heal. It takes an energy of, or it takes an amount of energy. It's like an energetic investment, and it can drain you a little bit. it requires sometimes, like after the closing out of a cycle, a period of rest and renewal and integration. And that's what I see as the Two of Cups here for you. It's you are aware of the energies around you and your own energy, and you are empowered, sovereign, and consciously choosing with intention how you are moving, how you are thinking, what you are prioritizing, where your emotional loyalty lies. Like, you're being very real with yourself, because here you're saying that you're aware that there's a mirroring or something being shown to you for the sake of being integrated and empowered within you. And I think that this is shadow work. But there's a fear that's being highlighted surrounding, it could be surrounding worth, value, money, security, physical security, or the success of some sort of project, or even just like your legacy overall, something that you're building though physically. But it's like it's interesting. I see you observing this fear from an accepting space of love. And you're not judging, and you're just kind of witnessing it and holding space for it, is what it feels like. And it's integrating some of your shadow. In essence, it's somewhat dissolving, at least in part, the power that whatever this fear, doubt, or insecurity is, has over you and has had over you. What are you aligning with next? The Empress in reverse. Okay. I do feel like you're looking at some self-worth kind of stuff here. I'm going to clarify that after though, but let's see how you're approaching this. The Liberator. Didn't I say you were liberating yourself from some things and good things coming? Okay. Good. I like that. So the Liberator says freeing yourself and others from outmoded beliefs, releasing negative thought patterns. Yeah, there's like, that is absolutely bang on. So it's really your sight, your vision that is being liberated. And it's being liberated through it. I feel like you're closing something out that's been painful and plaguing and draining. It almost looks like you, through this integration process, you're working your way through abandonment, betrayals, projections, like ways that you were hurt by things outside of you. Also, ways that you hurt yourself and limit yourself inside your own mind. Ways that you criticize yourself, the narratives you have that shape your world. You're tracing all of this, and you're going to align next with the Empress in reverse. And I'm not seeing this as a point where you're going to stay and rest. It's like this is a point that you're kind of moving through, or you're coming here to reconcile something. And then, you know, that it's almost like then the integration is complete. And there's a state of wholeness where expansion can take place again. Because it feels like right now, something has made you doubt your own abundant and creative nature. I want to say. You know, though, again, like what needs to shift, what you need to free yourself from, what is outdated, what is causing conflict and tension in your mind, what doesn't feel naturally symbiotic or in balance or in harmony with the system, with you, right? But yeah, it feels like you're going to take a look directly here at the ways that you make yourself small, the ways that you maybe are uncomfortable with receiving. That could also be part of this trend, is like you give and give and give to the detriment of yourself. And there could be something there about being uncomfortable with receiving, or anxiously attached, or feeling like you need to perform or earn love, or that you're not good enough. I don't know. There's something there that's deeper that you're finding your way to. And again, you're on this journey. It's like you have a map, you have your little like pit stops marked out, like the destination. You're headed there on purpose to complete something so that something good can come in. So yeah, there's an awareness around this that is really beautiful and impressive. Honestly, kind of loving that. So I don't even know if there's anything that I even want to clarify there. That feels very, very clear cut. But there's a reinfusion or fresh, like maybe just a redefining it feels like reconnecting you to your conviction, your inspiration, your passion, your desire. And it feels like your vision is either being recreated, or else there's a whole new vision, or it's expanding. It feels like it's growing in capacity. It's like your vision is getting bigger. And I really love that. So I'm going to clear these cards, and I have some advice for you. Some cards of advice for you. So I'm going to put those down and close out with that. Okay. Let's see. Okay, let's take a look and see what your advice is overall. Okay, so it's the 9 of Wands in reverse. And then I have 3 of these oracle cards as well from the Literary Witches Oracle. And one of these, the first one, Elixir, I think yours was, is the card that you chose, your group. Yeah. Elixir, Solitude, and History. Okay. Okay, interesting. I might look in the book and see exactly who these 2 are, because they're lesser known ones by me that are in this deck. And it's interesting to put the lives of the people that are on the cards kind of into the context of the reading, like their experiences, their life story. Okay, so it doesn't need to be harder than... It doesn't need to be made hard. Things don't need to be hard right now, essentially, is what I'm feeling from this, like, immediately, though. With the 9 of Wands in reverse, there's also something I feel like that you have maybe, like, prevented yourself from seeing on purpose here. You could have been holding up a defense, like a blind spot almost. Again, like I think that you knew something, you were aware of something here, and you were choosing to act despite that knowledge, right? But it's like there's something now that you are making yourself available to actually see. So I feel like you're not defensive and you're not pushing or trying to dictate the direction of something, which means that you're open to what it truly is and where that energy wants to go by itself. But the Elixir card talks about attending to your health, or attending to your health. It can talk about attending certain events, but it also talks about toxicity. I think this is also like, don't be super guarded at this time. Don't shut yourself off. There's something about being social that's important about this time for you. I think like historically speaking, maybe when you've done deep shadow work or emotional processing, you may have isolated yourself a lot. Some of you even, you know, hi loons, some of you even kind of didn't have the most healthy ways of, like coping mechanisms here. And so be honest with yourself about what didn't work in the past if you've dealt with these situations to like bring you out of a heavy energy also, because there's something about you having been kind of isolated or in solitude in the past. And I'm going to clarify that a little bit more. Luna's super like wanting to talk right now. But okay, this card talks about Alejandra Pizarnik. Silence, interiority, and space. It says she was educated, born to Russian Jewish parents in Argentina. She wrote in Spanish. She wrote poetry of imagistic purity and surrealist influence. Themes of silence, absence, madness, and death. Wow. Her own struggle with depression led to an intentional overdose at the age of 36. My goodness. So yeah, I feel like there's something you're not meant to push through by yourself. In the past, this, and this has to do with not making it be harder or heavier than it needs to be as well. There's something that you don't need to carry alone, and you don't need to internalize it or have like coping mechanisms. They're encouraging you to go to events and be surrounded by healthy people that are uplifting, people that are not in that super anxious energy, right? But surround yourself with people whose energetic influence you want. Okay, and then Jamaica Kincaid. This says, okay, this is a card of history, lineage, the past, and deep time. Wow. Okay. So she wrote New Yorker articles and intense, biting fiction and non-fiction, which speaks with tremendous authority and clarity and often repeats images and phrases in an insistent invective against the failures of mothers, fathers, siblings, and colonialism. Wow, okay. Well, I feel like you're seeing something true, fiction and non-fiction. It's like you're seeing what was real and what was not, is what this feels like. Some of that might feel kind of intense, and so maybe that's why if you're by yourself, it can feel kind of heavy or like you need to escape from it sometimes because it takes you to a very deep place. But it is, you are strengthening your own authority, your own truth through this clarity. Just don't crush yourself under like the weight of it. Give yourself chances to breathe, to come up for air, and to be surrounded by lighter energies, okay? Because there's something here also about the more that you, like, I don't know how much you even need to dive into the past, but you might feel like your mind just naturally goes there to process or to like reflect on it when you're alone. Like you go into the past, you just naturally start maybe thinking about or feeling things that happened historically speaking, things that happened in the past. And because you're by yourself, you might not have things that pull you out of that. So you could get kind of consumed by old energies, right? Kind of sucked back into the past and out of the present moment. So that is another part of this advice as well that's important at this time. Let me just see if there's anything else they want to highlight for advice for you before I let you go. No, I feel like you have some really abundant, you've got some abundant stuff coming in the near future here. And you're freeing up the energy so that you can actually receive it. yeah, what stays, what goes. You've built a solid foundation, and there is some form of abundance and stability that's coming on top of that. So you're making forward progress. I do feel like what was stalled or stagnant or moving very slowly in the past is picking up speed. So yes, I like this a lot. All right, my dear, I am going to let you go at this time. And yeah, if there's another pal that you want to check out, then feel free to do so. But until we speak again, stay safe and well. Those are the messages that I had for you, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye, group 2. Hello, group number 3. I hope you're doing well. You're in group 3 if you chose the black kyanite and the oracle card of the braid, which we're going to use as part of your advice at the end. So that is not currently here. But we're first going to go through, as previously mentioned, on this side we're going to look at love. On this side we're going to look at some sort of physical investment, something. It could be a collaboration, a creative project, service, just somewhere where you devote your physical time. It could be just money straight up. Yeah, so take that side, well, take both sides as they resonate, obviously. But let's get into it. We're going to start with love and see what's happening here. And we'll clarify and stuff as we go along and see what wants to come out. All right. So the energy, situation, or theme in terms of romance at this time. The 10 of Wands. Okay. All right. Why am I getting haunted? Well, this is suitable for the season. 'Tis the season. La 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 la. But no, it's the 10 of Wands. Maybe it's because he's being literally attacked by a skeleton. This is the zombie tarot. I feel like something from the past comes a knocking, and it's creating some form of, it feels like a tense situation or just like an energetic build up. Your energy is the King of Wands in reverse. Okay. Well, to me, that's Leo energy, but it could be any of the fire signs as well indicated there. You don't have to have strong fire or be a fire sign, but it's just the energy that you're kind of in right now. Okay, what you're aligning with next is the 5 of Swords. My gosh. What are you guys doing? I want to see these energies too. The Queen, the shadow attributes of the Queen, and then this card, the hectic maintenance of Houle, is not a game that interests me. Being true to my own identity and talent does very much interest me. Okay, well, the shadow attributes of the Queen say becomes arrogant when authority is challenged, controlling, and demanding. Oh, okay, well, this feels a little bit like dramatic and petty. And I'm not saying that you are the one that is causing that, but that's the vibe that it's given, friends. That's the vibe. So let's get in and see what is exactly kind of going on with that. But yeah, it feels to me like an energetically straining situation. And I feel like this is something that maybe you thought you had already put to rest. I'm also not sure if this is you, because my intention when I pulled these extra cards were to give me more context on the, like on that part of your life. This card I specifically pulled as your energetic embodiment or experience, but you could be in this energy, Like, let's say this is approaching you from the past. It could put you in this energy and prime you for this with that person, for instance. So yeah, let's clarify that a little and get more, get investigative, I heard. So maybe there's something for you even that you are like investigating or really looking into, seeking some form of clarity around. Okay, I want to know what this Ten of Wands is. What's the Ten of Wands? What feels so heavy? It feels unexpected as well, like you thought that you'd pushed through the end of something and then it returns. Almost like maybe a final test is how some of you could be experiencing this. Or this could just even be just energetic weight as well, like the remembrance of something, being triggered by something that is already dead and not in your life anymore. So this doesn't have to be something physically returning or someone. It could just be you, like the resurfacing of certain energies and feelings that are kind of heavy and dense. If that's the case, then they're just coming up to be witnessed, observed, and they're kind of like just making themselves known on their way out is what I feel like. Yeah. Let me see. Tell me more about the Ten of Wands. What's this? Okay, the Eight of Cups. Yeah, this is something you already walked away from. You had already disconnected emotionally, or it was just not emotionally fulfilling to begin with. But this is something that you are saying it's coming back around. This is either something that already walked away from you or made the choice to disconnect itself emotionally. So either pull back, like remain physically in a situation, but essentially become emotionally absent or removed. It's kind of like a vacant energy. There's something here that it took a lot of energy to initially like close out or leave. This was a situation that no matter how long it was, no matter how long it lasted, there was an energetic heaviness, like weight to it. So it could have been that you and this person, you tried really hard to make something work and you just couldn't despite your best efforts. It could be that the two of you faced many challenges or obstacles or barriers individually or together. But there's a weight, or that you were learning difficult lessons or had some sort of like more difficult, maybe soul contract together. But there's something that did feel heavy about this, and specifically removing yourself, or the way that it removed itself felt heavy. It feels like a haunting, honestly. So that's why I think you are in this King of Wands in reverse energy, which is someone who is, well, the perfect match for the Queen of Wands, or the Queen in reverse. You could be dealing with a fire sign, because I said the Queen of Wands accidentally, but these two feel like they're in a face-off, and it feels like neither of you want to budge. You both want to... There's something about pride here where you don't want to bend to one another. You both want to be true to your own like uniqueness and integrity, and I feel like that should always be the case. But there's something about like the two of you triggering each other, or it's like you feel intimidated or threatened by one another, and you both become arrogant in a way, or just defensive against one another in your egos, essentially, is what I'm seeing, when you feel challenged by the other. You may also both view each other as being controlling and demanding, or kind of like bossy. But I think it's just part of that is that I'm seeing that there's like neither of you wants to give an inch. Like there's two very stubborn energies, very fixed energies that are like So if you're not willing to move or budge at all, right, then any request is going to feel very demanding, or it's going to feel like it's a lot. And if you are keeping no room open to compromise, then any request might feel controlling or like a threat to your autonomy. So it also depends on whether you've been in this energy or you're in it now in a reactionary way. Tell me more about the King of Wands in reverse. Why is group 3 in this energy surrounding love? But yeah, there's kind of a pretty intense, with that 5 of Swords energy coming up. Whoa, the 5 of Swords and the 5 of Swords. The 6 of Pentacles, it's like you get what you give, but not in the best way. This is kind of like an eye for an eye. It's an eye for an eye energy. I see you being quite defensive against this person, and it's bringing out some ugliness, not just in you. It's not feeling like the greatest situation. The 5 of Swords twice. My God. You both are approaching this from the same angle. You're both approaching this from the same angle. That's interesting. The 7 of Cups was flipped over in the deck. I didn't see that. I think that there's a level of confusion, like emotional confusion and exhaustion and just like illusion, like not really even knowing what's true because you're exhausted, because there's been like a pulling back or a separation of energies. This feels like someone that you don't know anymore. It's like you've become strangers to one another, but there's still a defensiveness around the past, or who you were in the past, or how you treated each other in the past. Something has not been resolved. Maybe that's why energetically it's coming back around, but it is creating a level of very clear mental turbulence, tension. Yeah. And it's triggering to one or both people. And I'm seeing it kind of be, again, it's like both people are approaching, if there is a conversation here, or even just the way that you're perceiving the situation, both of you are thinking about it kind of from the same page and vantage point. And it's like, I don't trust this other person. They're out for themselves. They'll do anything to win. They'll say anything to win. It's very combative energy. But it's ultimately coming from a place of personal woundedness and indecision. It's like, can I still trust this person based on what has happened, or what I've learned, or what's been said, based on like the wounds that have been sustained? Now I'm not so sure. It's compromised the connection, right? So I see you both approaching one another, not knowing who the other person is at this point, and also, or else you're just reapproaching it, like thinking about it. But there's still like a defensiveness, a triggering, a reactive energy there that's being actively given to. And it feels like it's causing issues for both people. Okay, tell me more about actually, I want to clarify this Queen in reverse first before I look into that 5 of Swords in the near future here. What's this Queen in reverse? And is that my group 3 people? If these are both you, then it's like you're triggered because energy that you thought you'd already closed out, reconciled, or walked away from in the past is coming back around and making itself very known. It's very in your face. It's asking you to see it, notice it. And it's triggering you because you're seeing where you invested into fuckery, basically. It's like, why did I even engage with that, you know? it drained my energy. It's someone who is maybe like conceited, arrogant, controlling, or they were committed to misunderstanding me, or they were committed to playing games or gaslighting me. But you're seeing your involvement in it and the energy you willingly like exchanged with this, and it's making you a little spicy. And you could see also how it turned you into, like, it brought out the worst of you, or it brought out a part of you that you did not like. It didn't make you feel like good about yourself, and you don't want to repeat it. It's like it brought out a part of you that you didn't even really recognize. Maybe you found yourself like sinking to certain levels, or saying certain things, or acting or behaving in a way that you're like, who am I? Like, this might be their level of integrity, but it's not mine. But there's something here that you're taking a closer look at. But tell me about this Queen in reverse. Yeah, in order to have success with something, you're looking at the ways that you have engaged with things that were never going to, you were never going to be able to win. It's like fighting losing battles. And how that pulled you out of your own integrity and authenticity, and kind of distracted you from putting your energy towards things that could be quite expansive and abundant for you. It basically was just an energy drain, like a kind of parasitic sort of relationship, or just something toxic that you had been giving to. And even if this is like your continued thought or rumination in your own head, or like replaying or having conversations, right, about things from the past or with people from the past, there's something about that holding on to that energy or continuing to engage with it is pulling you out of success and recognition of yourself. There's something that's coming up again to show you how it's still been influencing or impacting you. And you're triggered by this because you're realizing, I was giving to things that... I'm hearing that Eminem song where he says, I've created a monster because nobody likes to hear... What does he say? Nobody wants to hear Marshall no more. They want Slim Shady. And he's talking about where he created his alter ego, and then it became the only thing that people recognized, and his authenticity, his authentic self, became something that nobody even recognized or wanted anymore. And when that's the case, when you're not being true to yourself, you never really feel the Six of Wands, because what is the Six of Wands? It is success and recognition, but it's like, it feels so good because it comes from being seen and recognized and appreciated and celebrated for the authentic you and your authentic talent and integrity and strength, and yeah, the expression and embodiment of that is recognized, and it feels really good to be seen and appreciated in that way. It really builds you up. So I think that you're seeing where maybe you don't even recognize yourself, and you could be reflecting on the things that you've given energy to in the past that took you away from yourself, and it feels like you're kind of trying to find your way back to a more secure and open, like disarmed version of yourself, because this feels like you're kind of realizing here that things that you thought that you'd left behind, maybe even long ago, you've actually been carrying a lot of energetic weight on your back. And it's almost like you've been going down this huge, like you've been on this huge journey, and you've had this backpack of bones on your back, and it's like it was invisible, or you didn't realize you were carrying it until the bones came back to life and started attacking you. So there's something that could be activated right now that's making you realize that you've actually held on to this, or there's still an attachment, an energetic attachment. And I think it's because you've been giving a lot of energy to something from the past in your mind, and not realizing how that's been keeping its hooks in you, and it's been deteriorating some important part of you. And I think like causing you to act out of alignment with your integrity in some cases, but in other words, just like performing or being a people pleaser to receive validation, basically like maintaining an image that doesn't even interest you out of defensiveness or being in a triggered state that you maybe didn't realize that you were in. Wow. Okay. So that's a lot. You could see how you also kept yourself somewhat stuck, like your ego kept you stuck. And this is normal, by the way, because if you're really triggered, you're in like self-protection mode, right? And the ego is kind of in charge of that. It does risk assessment. It does coping mechanisms. It does like boundary setting and assertion. But that could have come through. There's something about like an arrogance and being combative, taking everything as like your authority being challenged, taking everything as people trying to control you, perceiving everything as people making like crazy demands of you. But really, that may not have been the complete clear reality. It could have been something that this energy was really building up in your mind, and you were maybe reacting to certain things or engaging with them or perceiving them as like from a place of not having come out of this triggered space yet, you know? And I'm feeling like you didn't realize that you hadn't. I feel like you thought that you had long walked away from this and separated from it, but you weren't realizing how much space it was still taking up in your head and how much it was influencing your own personal expression and embodiment of self, your confidence, and how you feel seen and appreciated by others in your life. So this might be kind of painful, but it's coming up for a reason, and ultimately it's very good that it is coming up, I think. Okay, so let's take a look at the other side of things here. What's going on in this realm of your world? So the energy, situation, or theme over here is the Hierophant, okay? And you are the Page of Pentacles in reverse, okay? What's coming in next, or what you're aligning with, is the Empress in reverse. Wow. Group 2 got the Empress in reverse in the same place. So you may want to watch group 2. You could find that maybe the reading is reversed for you. Like maybe someone else who's involved, that could be their reading here, or it's just giving you even more insight into something maybe. But only do that if you feel called to. Okay, there's something here that is it's like well established. It's stable. It's rooted, grounded into your integrity. Something that was built on solid ground with conviction, and it has roots down. This is Taurian's energy, so it's fixed earth. But you are in the energy of the Page of Pentacles in reverse. So I feel like you might not currently be giving too much physical energy to this investment. It's like it's there, it's good. I'm seeing it as being built on solid ground and strong and even spiritually protected. There's something here. This, whatever this is, it's in alignment with you on a soul level. And so there's a security about it that it's something I'm seeing that you can step back from or step away from without worrying that it's going to crumble or fall apart. It's something that can sustain itself because of how it's been built and because of what it's built on and what sort of is fueling it. So you could be just not putting out a lot of energy, content, work. You could be stepping back from something. You could even be on vacation right now for some of you. But the Empress in reverse, why is that what you are? You could also feel kind of confused, like you don't know what you have to give this at this time. That could be because you're just energetically drained, burnt out, exhausted. And there's something about a distorted feminine energy here, or just not feeling like you can be vulnerable or open to receive. Something about maybe not completely seeing your own worth or believing yourself to be abundant and expansive. Okay, I don't think I need to clarify the Hierophant. That is something, whatever that is for you, it's well established. I do want to know why you're in the Page of Pentacles in reverse though. And this is also how you, yeah, this is more clarity. So you also have the Athlete, dedication to transcending physical limits, including handicaps, and the development of personal willpower and strength of spirit. Okay, and this card came out in reverse, but it's the brain and the heart both simultaneously giving something the finger there. And then there's also this card. Let me do this. There's also this card that has in sovereignty and out of sovereignty, and it kind of compares different ways of thinking or different statements or affirmations based on whether you're in alignment and sovereignty with your own energy or not. So in sovereignty is like, I'm safe to feel, I'm responsible for my life, I speak my truth, knowing that you're not responsible for anyone's actions but your own, that you are free to follow your own resonance, to create and to choose your own reality and to allow others to be and to do the same. When you're out of sovereignty, it's more like feeling like you have to control your own feelings, like you're a victim, like you're hopeless, and then you need to control or dictate others' responses and truths. As a result, you need to try to change them, or you allow them to change you. Okay. What's the Page of Pentacles in reverse here? Why is group 3 in that energy? We're experiencing that. The 7 of Swords in reverse, the 8 of Swords in reverse, and the Tower in reverse. Something is becoming incredibly clear to you. And it's something that in the past you were not, again, reconciled. You weren't completely reconciled about something. And I think the lack of reconciliation, again, it's all swords, was in your mind. It was mental. I feel like your heart, 8 of Cups, had already bailed. Like your heart was already like giving the middle finger to something. But this coming out in reverse was telling me that both were not on the same page. Or maybe they still aren't. I feel like what's being revealed to you, it's around a fear that you're seeing you have liberated yourself from, or you need to. But it's like something maybe hadn't completely, you're not afraid of something falling apart anymore. You see something clearly that you've liberated yourself from some sort of fear that maybe you've still been ruminating on, but you're like, you could be realizing, why was I still ruminating on that? I'm not even afraid. It could have been the way that you were thinking about pain previously, that your heart was already disconnected and detached, and healed to a great extent, and kind of like integrated the lesson here, but something in your mind was still unresolved about something. And it could be that you were holding on to bitterness, you were holding on to shame, guilt, resentment, something to do with this past situation. It's like a battle you were still fighting in your head that had been done for a long time already in reality, but you were still committed to it. And I think out of fear and being triggered by the situation still, but it's almost like now you're realizing here that there's something that really used to scare you that you're not actually afraid of anymore. something being shaken up or falling apart. It's like, I think you're realizing you're on the same page now and your mind can release something so that you can be more in sovereignty and in alignment with yourself again. Because there's something you're dedicated to developing beyond. And I think that it has to do with your work or some sort of project. But whatever this is, while it's stable and it's established, it's like you're not afraid of it falling apart. It also hasn't been feeling expansive or abundant. There's been like a creative block, an emotional block, an abundance block. And I think that there was something out of alignment energetically that was causing that. So through taking some time, it feels like, to do some internal work. So you could be, again, like not working right now or just not focusing the bulk of your energy onto work. You're focused more on your own internal alignment and strengthening your spirit and getting back in alignment with your personal willpower, integrity, intentions, and, you know, the plans you have for your own development. Getting out of your head, getting out of the past, being empowered in the present moment so that things can grow and expand and build the way that you want them to. But in the near future, you're looking very clearly at where not being on the same page in terms of your head and your heart has made you triggered and defensive, I feel like. And when you are defensive, you're like holding a defense, right? So you're not able to receive. Anything else about the Empress in reverse there? So I see you kind of finding the root of this in the near future and then being committed and dedicated to overcoming it, like transcending it. Yeah. You have a really strong, like, dedicated, disciplined approach here. The Ten of Pentacles, exactly. You are going to overcome this 100%. The Hierophant and the Ten of Pentacles with the Athlete and the Empress even. This is a very abundant energy. There's something that once you get back into alignment here and you're feeling more rested and empowered, I feel like there's something you don't see coming that is actually going to expand with this investment. And I think you don't see it coming because maybe there's been a stagnancy for a while, like I was saying. But I think that there's going to be some sort of breakthrough and success and recognition here that you've been waiting for. It's like it's a long time coming. And I think that there's just somewhere where you're realizing a part of you was conflicted, and that may have been sending mixed signals or just making you drained and not available to receive something, or not quite your authentic self. And so then from that point, you weren't really able to be a vibrational match for some form of physical growth or abundance here that has wanted to take place, but it looks like it's flooding in the near future here. But it's because of this internal work that you're doing. So I'm going to clear these cards and so that we can take a look at your advice to close things off. Let's see. Okay. So for your advice, we have the Knight of Cups. Okay. Okay, and then we also have these three oracle cards, and the first one is the one that you actually chose your group by. So there's the braid. Then you have Anne Carson, the intellect, and Joy Harjo, bravery, or Harjo? Okay. I'm really bad with pronunciation of names, particularly in other languages. I'm just like, what? How did I get to be so bad at this? But okay, let's see. What do we got here? I'm seeing this as very clear. It's like, follow your heart, ride those emotional waves, but take your head with you, take your brain with you. This is the zombie tarot, and he's literally like got his brain in his hand. But he's the Knight of Cups. He's in charge of moving based on his emotions, his feelings, following his heart. But then also you have Anne Carson, the intellect, right under that. So it's like head and heart, sorry. They're both finally in alignment, and part of your advice is to keep them in alignment, like sustain that alignment and only surf the waves that check both boxes. There's something there about that. But the braid is a very interesting energy. Because it talks about your identity, and it actually talks about survival and the opinions of others, and kind of, the braid makes me think of like, I've grown my hair out for however long, and maybe I kept this braid for however long, that maybe it became a part of my physical identity or something that I was very used to or others were used to. But ultimately, I can change. I can be whatever and whoever I want to be, no matter what I think or what anybody else thinks. So then there's a story behind cutting this braid off and being able to like know yourself, but also know that you can change and you're in control of that. There's something about becoming aware of how much power maybe others' opinions have had over you, and then having the bravery to challenge the ways that, again, maybe even you had become something that you didn't recognize. And that is happening through like plunging deep into yourself and your fears so that you can make decisions that are truly aligned with you on every level. Not decisions that are creating like misalignments within your energy, but those that are making you feel holistically seen, supported, essentially experiences that are supporting your integration and your development and the development of your identity over time, right? Not things that are boxing you in or stifling you. There's something though about liberation. And I think that more than anything, like moving forward, it has to do with how you relate to other people and the situations you involve yourself in. But this part, I feel like, is very much like you. You're challenging something about your own intellect and a part of your identity that maybe was like a mask you were wearing to protect yourself. But you became comfortable with that identity, and there's something that requires bravery to acknowledge and then also shift out of. It's interesting too, because look at, in this card, she's holding an eye, I'm pretty sure. And earlier, didn't I say it was like an eye for an eye energy? It's kind of interesting. This is almost giving, like, you know, when someone hurts you and then your greatest fear is like becoming like that person, but in your fear to become nothing like that person, like to protect yourself from other people like that, or repeating that experience, you may put on like a mask, like your villain era or something, right? To like, I'm never letting that happen to me again. And then you might become like, you might adopt practices or masks or basically adapt to trauma in such a way that it could have pulled you out of your heart and more into your head. And I just see you getting in your own way there. Or there's something as well about, like, again, engaging with behavior that are just, it's not in alignment with your true integrity or who you want to be or what you want to stand for. Something that made you realize you weren't in alignment with yourself because it didn't feel good. And it's not something you need to be guilty or ashamed of, but it is something that you kind of want to bring awareness to because you want to correct it. You want to develop. And that is, it takes courage to look at the parts of yourself that you're ashamed of, or the places where you feel you know that you could do better, or you've been pulled out of alignment or given your power away, or that your identity has become something that either you don't recognize or you just don't, resonate with anymore. All of that is perfectly normal part of being a human, So this is kind of just looking at it bravely, seeing where, though, I feel like you got pulled into an energy that was resentful, or an eye for an eye. Yeah, it's like revenge in a way. I don't know why that's coming through, but you're becoming aware of something if that resonates with you, if that part of the message resonates with you. So is there anything else that I need to convey to group 3 about their advice before I let them go? Yeah, see, you're healing, you're balancing yourself out, and you're going to experience a great degree of personal fulfillment in the near future because of that. You're going to feel a whole lot better. But it's because something has been not in a state of moderation or harmony within you. And because you were in that reactive or defensive space, I don't think that you really realized that you were out of sync with yourself here, and you were not feeling, you weren't really able to build the ways you wanted to engage with others, maybe in an authentic way, you're just seeing what needs to be healed here, and then you're taking care of it. And there's a really beautiful energy of ease, fulfillment, satisfaction, abundance, liberation, and again, knowing your head and heart. And I don't want to say fearlessly, but courageously making choices to build a life that's in alignment with that. And that is fucking beautiful. So those are the messages I have for you, group 3. You're already in alignment with this, and this is just shadow season work. Honestly, this makes complete sense for the energies that we are in at this time. So there's also Sag and Aquarius are heavy here, if that means anything to you. But I'm going to leave your messages there. I'll see you very soon for your next reading, but stay safe and well until then. And yeah, I'll talk to you again soon. Bye.